Welcome to Finding Solutions with eBay Joey and Stevie D. Welcome to a Reseller's Journey presents Finding Solutions. I am your host, eBay Joey, and my co-host, Stevie D. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, Joey. How you doing, man? How's your week been?
Oh, week's been good, man. Last time we did episode 3, I had some cancels and a return, but this week, man, pretty strong. Had like at least 7 sales on eBay, killing it on Go. Got a couple on Posh, man. How about you?
Yeah, same. Sales seem to be picking back up again, but the one thing not picking up are these stores right now. It's still, I don't know about your area, it's still dry season out here. I'm really been hustling on the online game and some of the thrift game to try to make up for the retail, but yeah, it's still going really, really well. Can't complain.
Yeah, man. Hopefully it picks up. I know it's just a part of the game, where it's dry, but it's all good. But we do have a jam-packed show today. We do got a couple questions that I'm very excited that relate more on the finance side of being a reseller. So the two questions that we're going to get into, one of them is, how do you earn rewards while sourcing? Another question that we will tackle is how do you set your budget to make sure you don't overspend? So two really good questions that talk about, that focus on the finance side. So I'm very excited for this one, Stevie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can help out big with both of these.
Yeah, man. So let's tackle this first one. How do you earn rewards while sourcing slash shopping?
All right, so I'm going to hit two topics here. First one I'm going to hit, and I don't know if everybody can get involved in this or not. Obviously, credit score is going to depend on it a little bit, is using the in-store cards. Marshall's card in particular, and now the Burlington card that's out. I believe it's available in all areas at this point now. I know it was a bit of a slow rollout. Um, both cards offer cashback rewards. They have a app for the Marshalls one that you can actually go in there and just hold open the app, have it scanned at the terminal. Burlington sending the paper rewards out. It's basically equates to like about a 5% cash back, and you get it monthly in your statement. I think it's a great tool. I mean, if you're going to use your debit card or your credit card anyways, I don't know many people who have a 5% cash back credit card. Even these Spark cards and some of these other ones, to get that 5% reward, it's huge, and it's a nice thing that you can do. I think most of them have like a year and a half to 2 year expiration on them, so you can bank them, build them up, when you really come across that big haul, and you can just unload them in one shot. But, that's something I use personally is both of those. And every month, a couple $100 on each that come through in the rewards money. How about you? You use those cards at all or no?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Marshall's credit card. I do use that only for Marshall purchases.
Mhm.
It's very seldom that I will use it, like on food or gas, things like that. But for the most part, you really can't beat those certificates that they give you. I just got one in the mail because Marshall's been kind of slow, but I got a $10, and so I'm gonna save that. And then once Marshall picks up, then next thing you know, you got $50, then you got $100, and that you can buy, two $50 shoes with that. So it's pretty good. Also, I do use my Chase credit card. So I'm a big fan of the flyer miles and then the hotel points. So for me, if I know a trip's coming up or a vacation, I really like to use that one a lot, Stevie. That's how I get a lot of my rewards, and it just kind of helps out on the traveling with the family.
Yeah, I have my regular credit cards tied into a Marriott rewards program. My oldest son is people have seen in my videos. He's a big ice hockey guy, and we travel all over the Northeast. So that does definitely come in handy when it comes to
Hmm.
the personal rewards. But from a just a bonus cash standpoint, those are the two that I would use. And then the other thing that I use a lot is the Ebates or Rakuten now. It's called. It's got an app. I mean, this is probably the simplest thing in the world. I mean, you literally download the app onto your phone. All you do is go in, you search what site you want to shop on, and this is for the online arbitrage. Type in Finish Line, Foot Locker, whatever it may be, and all it does is redirect you over to the site. And you can get anywhere from a 2% up to a 10% cash back. Finish Line was actually offering 10% cash back just for logging in through that app. And then what they do is they drop the money quarterly or actually it drops in every day, but quarterly they pay you out in a fat check. They'll hit you with that check every quarter, and it's, if you're hitting online arbitrage hard, I mean, this could be hundreds of dollars that are coming back your
Yeah.
way, every quarter, and that's a substantial amount of money. Um, they do have referral fees as well. I know you got a code for a referral fee, right? If any of the viewers want to use it, I think if you
Yeah.
spend 25, you get 25, right?
No, if you when you sign up and you spend 25, you get $10
Oh,
back.
10 back. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. And then the person with the code gets a kickback as well. So something that we're gonna do with the code, because we got one, is that we're gonna do some giveaways with the gift cards. So I think depending on how many people sign up, for sure we're gonna do a $50 gift card. So we'll put the link in the on the YouTube video, and then we'll also put a link on the podcast. And then I want to do some work with some nonprofit. So the extra money that we get from the referral, Stevie, we're also going to help out Matt Klein Hustle. He has a nonprofit where he gives shoes to kids that really can't afford them. So good things will happen with it. So yeah, I actually used mine today and I bought a gift card. So I just logged in, set up my account. Next thing you know, went to Amazon through their portal, and then I'll get some cash back on that. I think that one was 5%. So I spent $50. So there you go, a little bit of extra cash in the pocket.
Yeah, every little bit adds up. I mean, especially like right now, you got all these clearances and markdowns going on in the store. What better time to take a clearance and combine it with a cashback offer and really stack these offers up, make some money.
Yeah, it's a win-win. And then just one last thing, when people are using credit cards, really just use them as a debit card. Don't want no one really getting in trouble, and just be responsible. I'd say that's the main thing, because it could be easy if you have a high credit limit and you just start buying all this stuff, and then if it doesn't sell, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you just can't get caught up in the Instagram hype and people showing cartloads of stuff. Like we said before, you don't know how much of that stuff they're really buying. Everybody just wants to be flashy for the gram and, worry about yourself and live within your means. The last thing you want is credit card debt, trying to rack up these points. You're better off staying debt free than chasing, extra bonus points and dollars.
Yeah, well said, man. Next question: how do you set your budget to make sure you don't overspend, Stevie? So, tell the people how you do yours.
Well, mine's changed over time, and I think it's something you have to be careful with. When I started out, like I said before, and you go back and listen to the interview that I did with you a while back, is, I had $500, and that was my budget when I started doing the retail arbitrage, and I worked out of that bankroll. I still to this day have worked out of that bankroll. I've never used my own credit card. I've never taken any kind of loans out. When I use my Burlington and Marshalls card, it gets paid off in full that month. I never spend above my means. If the past couple of weeks, because it's been dry, I've been hitting the online arbitrage hard. And one of the things that I did is I always keep an eye on what I have in PayPal, and that's what I have for a spend. I always have enough in my PayPal account to cover the spends that are on these cards. And it just comes down to being mature and being fiscally responsible. I mean, you have to really track what you're spending. And if you don't have that backed up by cash in an account, you can't spend it. It's as simple as that. I mean, I know it's hard sometimes when you go, oh, I just found 10 pairs of Vapor Max, but I only have $300 in the account. I mean, to me, that's a gateway to ending up in debt, and I think you got to be careful. And everybody's situation's different. You might have a paycheck coming on Friday. You can take care of that balance. But listen, at the end of the day, I would take it slow, be responsible, baby steps, and listen, in the last year and a half, it's not a brag, but for 500, I've turned $500 into, over 800 pairs of shoes now at this point, literally reinvesting into my business, and you can do it being responsible. You just got to make smart purchases and live within your means. Don't go crazy over it.
Yeah, I think what's most important is that everybody that's listening is in a different financial situation than the next reseller. So you want to know what you're capable of doing. However, for me, right off the gate, I'm going to have a goal. And so before I start my budget, I'm going to tell myself, how much profit do I want to make, Stevie? So for an example, I'm going to tell us and myself that I want to make $500 in profit a month. So that's my goal. So according to the data that I've been tracking as a reseller, Stevie, I average about 80% in gross profit. So that means in order to achieve my $500 in profit, I have to sell $625 online. And then 80% of that is going to be my 500. So I kind of broke it down. I took it a step further just to kind of simple math. So if I sell 5 items for $100, um, then that's going to help me get to my goal. If I sell 7 items at $75 in profit, then I'll get to my goal. Also, if I sell $50 in profit 10 times, then that's how I achieve the 500. And then if I want to do $25 in profit, I need to do that 20 times. And so that's really going to help you get to where you want to get to. So that's going to also determine what kind of inventory you have, because if you're looking for $50 in profit, Stevie, you got to buy a high-end cleat at least for $20, or you're going to have to buy a shoe that's $50 and sell it for at least at minimum 120, 130.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of ways to go about this. But
Yeah.
I think the way you have it is a perfect way of being smart and actually sitting down and doing financial planning, and
Mhm.
and it's a smart way to go. But I think that we see online now, there's not a lot of people that are sitting down and doing the math and caring about the numbers. And it's one of the reasons that we see these big tanks in the market. People panic and bail because now they maxed out their budget. They got to get the money back. They got to pay the bills. You got to just slow down and really look at what you can do and worry about yourself and not worry about others. And I think in the long run, you'll be smart if you do it that way. And listen, one other thing that, I have friends that do, that are in this game as well, is just a real old school mentality of, all right, if you're going to have a budget of $500 for the week,
Mhm.
take it in cash, leave the cards at home, and that's what you have. And when it's
Yeah.
gone, it's gone. I mean, that's the most basic of budgeting. But listen, it's a very simple way. You're not tempted by having those credit cards on you and having, the Burlington or the Marshalls. Just take the cash money. That's what you have. When it's done, it's done. It might sound childish, but there's no way to get around it if that's all you have in your pocket, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I think that leads into the second part is, you know, what kind of access to capital do you have? Is it cold cash where you have money set aside for your business, or do you have credit cards where it's like, okay, I'm hoping whatever I buy, I sell within 28 days, I keep the profit. So I think resellers really have to keep that in mind where it's like, do you want to use personal funds? So for me, I have a budget that I do monthly. Now, if I come across, let's say 10 Vapor Max, like you said, I might, if I don't have the money from the business, then I'm going to finance that for my personal funds. But I'm going to be a lot more patient with those purchases. And then hopefully I can recoup my money, I would say at least 3 to 6 months. But that's another way that I would finance, is just making sure that your personal finances is also in order.
Yeah, personal finances are a huge part of this. If
Mm.
if you're living paycheck to paycheck to begin with, and then you're doing this on the side, it's going to put even more stress on it. So,
Mhm.
I think when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, is you really got to sit down and, like I said, like an adult, look at your finances. And in
Mhm.
your case, like you said, if you got to go to the personal money at that point outside of the business, you got to know what the end point is, and you got
Mhm.
to stick to it. It comes to maturity. It comes down to being a businessman. Yeah, is there going to be times where you want to take a risk and listen, if it's high end cleats, we know that is an absolute slam dunk sale. You're not going
Mhm.
to have an issue moving those. But if you're looking at something like, you know, Air Max 90s or something like that in a nice colorway, it could take a while to sell. It depends on what it
Mhm.
is. Unless it's an absolute slam dunk, you got to be smart about it.
Yeah, I think being disciplined as well will be part of the budget. I know that there's been times, especially just starting off, Stevie, where I just sit my ass at home and I'm on IG just watching people killing it because I already, spent my money. There's not a surplus. And then also, for those people that are budgeting and you do have a surplus, I did pull up the dictionary word just to kind of help us in context. But surplus means an amount of something left over when requirements have been met. And I think that's another way to do your budget where, let's say, you allocate that $500 a week, Stevie, or the $500 a month, whatever it is. Now, if sales start coming in and that PayPal is growing, then yeah, now you have a surplus. Or you can always say, I'll keep that money for next month. Maybe you're going to be patient with it, or maybe you want to be aggressive with it. So I think just be disciplined is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be other factors that come into play as well. I mean, perfect example right now is tax season's coming up. How many people put money aside that are going to have to pay taxes? This is another thing that
Yeah.
can pop up out of nowhere and really jam up your bankroll. So you got to really sit down and listen. At the end of the day, if you got to sit down with an accountant, and make an investment into your business, and they'll talk to you about these numbers and
Yeah.
strategizing and game planning and how to spend. And my account that I sit down with, we sit down almost quarterly at this point now and really look at the finances. And then you start to see the trends. There's certain parts of the year that get hot. You need to start to stack up money for those parts. It just comes with time. It comes with experience. Just
Hmm.
just be smart about it. Look at your funds, and at the end of the day, like I said, unless it's a slam dunk sale, just make sure you're making the right investment with your money.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, I did read Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. I finished the book. It did help me, even though what I'm doing today. But if anybody wants it, just DM me at eBay Joey and I'll mail it to you. So first one that DMs me wins the book.
I'm about to DM you right when this is over with. I'm just
it,
playing.
it, it excludes Stevie D.
Yeah, I'm
So
playing.
where can people find you on social media, brother?
All right, so on IG as always is stevie.d.reselling. Right before this tape, and actually just uploaded episode 11. Mostly a thrift video. It's been tough in those stores, but we got to still get that money. So hitting the thrifts hard this week. Had a really solid week out there, and share some of that with everybody. So check that out.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I want to thank the audience for tuning in. If you want us to find a solution for your business, you can contact us via Instagram at eBayJoey or at stevie.d.reselling, or you can visit the show's website at aresellersjourney.com where you can submit a question. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Remember, never forget why you started. Peace.